Hello everybody, David Kennedy here once again, Canopy Realtor Association and MLS President, here with another ordinary realtor who did some extraordinary things. David Barnhardt, how the heck are you, man?
I'm doing good today, man. Good to see you as
good
always.
Good to see you too, man. You are in 1120 Pearl Park Way, the $28 million headquarters. I know it's not your first time here, but what does it mean to you when when I ask you, hey, what was it like to buy the land out there to assemble some of the parts that ultimately went into the whole that got us where we are today, the WHOLE whole, where we are today, to be in a position to get such a great building. You were there at the beginning and kind of helped set us up. What does it feel like?
Yeah, pretty incredible that we did such a good job assembling that land. We were able to sell it for a good amount of money and put together this building and this whole campus. You know, you were going to ask me one of my favorite memories, and I'll go ahead and jump into that. One of my favorite memories was when Tony Smith was president, and we were in the boardroom over at 301 next door, and we had called in. We had a contract on the first building we bought, and we called in all the other living presidents in the boardroom at 301 next door. And because we thought, hey man, we got the best minds in Charlotte about real estate. And I remember Jim Varnador stood up in 301 and walked around to the windows and he said, buy that, buy that, buy that, and buy that. We did, and here we are.
Wow. Wow. That's thank you for your leadership with that. Yeah. We owe you a debt of gratitude. So how in the world did you get in real estate? I have an inkling because you are the son of the legendary Catherine Browning, legend in her own right, 1992 president, 96 Realtor of the Year. She was saving Fourth Ward one sale of a house at a time on handshakes, a handshake deal. Did she influence you to get into real estate? What was it? How did you get into real estate? Were you there when she was doing that, the handshake deals back and forth?
Well, I don't remember the handshake deals, but she would when she was going to look at houses down in Fourth Ward, she put me in the car. I was 12 or 13 years old, and she needed a man to come along with her because some of those houses were supposed to be vacant, but they were not. And so when we opened the Berry Hill house, the first renovation in Fourth Ward, me and my brothers sold Coca-Colas on the corner where Alexander Mike's is now. But Alexander Michael's was boarded up. So we were selling soft drinks at the opening of the Berry Hill house.
So you literally were 12, 13, 14 years old, and that's your first kind of experience with real estate, kind of accompanying your mother in her endeavors to help Fourth Ward. When did it become official? When did you officially kind of get your license and say, this is what I'm going to be doing?
Well, let me back up one more time the story. Okay. David, my first cold call, all right, Mom, this is the old days when you know, you didn't have voicemail. Somebody had to pick up the phone. And Mom was out showing a house. I was 13, 14, 15 years old. And she goes, David, if the phone rings, answer Helen Adams Realty, because that's who she worked for then. The phone rang. I answered Helen Adams Realty. It was the Mayor Ken Harris. So that was my first cold call. Happened to be the mayor of Charlotte, and he was wanting to sell his house on Providence Road.
How did that go?
Went well. We actually sold that for him and have sold it again since.
So your first, and how old were you?
About 14 or 15.
Did she give you a referral fee?
No, but I did get dinner that night.
There you go. So you have played a vital role, kind of accumulating land. We talked about that, getting us here to this wonderful headquarters. But we hit our Canopy Housing Foundation. We hit $1 million in our endowment back in 2019, and you, during your leadership tenure, you had the presence of mind to kind of set that up and get it going. What kind of walk us through what your thinking was back then, and kind of what led you to do what you did?
Oh gosh, David, it goes back before me. I mean, back to Mickey and Catherine. But we just kept it going, and we had I think during my tenure, is that when we brought on a staff to actually run it? We were back in the day, the agents on the committees were the ones running those foundations, and the Builder Realtor Fair and the committees did all the work. So I don't know that I did anything magic in my year as president for that, but we kept it going, and we've set some incredible goals, lofty goals, and we met them, and I think we need to reset those. I think we've reset them real high, and that's incredible work.
So speaking of incredible work, you back in your day, we'd give away houses. So the home giveaway, how did that come about?
We did. Actually, you think about it, we were doing the home giveaway. That was part of the foundation?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. And the giveaway, the home giveaway was the carrot, and one of the people who completed the program won a house. And you think about giving away a house as, oh wow, you just give away. No, there are tax repercussions to it. So the guy we gave the house to, we gave 3 or 4 away, actually had to take out a second to pay his taxes. So nothing's free, okay? Yeah. But that was amazing to actually hand the keys to somebody to give them a house. I hadn't even thought about that in a while, but that was a pretty cool day.
So back during your tenure, your time, the Realtor Reflections was just, it was the marketing tool for everybody to know. So almost every builder was putting an ad in. It was 50, 60 pages. It was the thing. And you're on the cover as president, licensed to serve, the James Bond, but your serve was actually service oriented, and you encouraged realtors to get involved, volunteer efforts, to be leaders in their community. And fast forward to today, we see so many businesses weaving in benevolence in their business plan.
Yeah.
You're such a forefather of that type of thinking. What inspires you to encourage realtors to volunteer and get involved in something?
Well, good question. You interviewed my mom last week, okay? Uh-huh. That's just kind of how I was raised, and my grandfather. But also, I just completed Leadership Charlotte, and that was part of Leadership Charlotte is giving back in service. So I'd gotten that ingrained, and then we'll jump into the Leadership Development Program off of that. But that was pretty cool. My son told me a couple years ago that he's seen that cover of Realtor Reflections, and he thought that's how I went to work, in a tuxedo.
Yes.
So I'm on the cover of Realtor Reflections magazine, I think with a white glove and a tuxedo on, licensed to serve. And we actually gave out, I should have brought you one of those. We gave out cards that said license to serve. So we gave you a license to serve. So
you mentioned you just got out of Leadership Charlotte. Did that kind of inspire you to, you really championed a leadership development for our association to engender possibilities for realtors to learn to be leaders, what it takes to be leaders, to kind of go through some training. So you were a big advocate for that, and then you jumped right in, and you were in the first class in 1999. What kind of prompted you to do that, and what does Leadership Academy and Leadership Development mean to you?
That's really fun. Because that's one of the things I was talking to about Donna on the way over here, because I wanted to make sure my memory served me correctly. But Sandy Larsh had gone through Leadership Charlotte. Years ago, we sent every president through Leadership Charlotte. I don't know if we're still doing that or not. But Sandy had gone through Leadership Charlotte. She came out of that, and she grabbed me and Donna Anderson and Judy Kendall one day down in the basement next door. She says, hey, we need to do this for the realtors. And so we came up with a plan called the Leadership Development Program, and the 4 of us did a lot of the legwork in some of the original programs. Now staff organizes so much of it, But we made the phone calls to Ty Boyd to come speak. We made the phone call. We decided what the programs were going to be. We made the phone calls, reserved the rooms, and got the speakers to come in. It was a lot of work, but that's what we were doing. The committees were doing a lot of stuff back then that we've got wonderful staff doing.
When we sit down today, when there are, the president will appoint his committee chairs. And when we sit down and at the round table and talk about the vision and what we're going to try to do as leaders, we all go around the table and say, hey, who we are, how long we've been in real estate, who we work for, and what year we graduated from Leadership Academy. And to a person, all of us have gone through it. So it's that's yet another legacy that you're a part of that we greatly appreciate. Speaking of legacies.
Oh wait, let me talk on that a little bit.
Okay, yeah, go.
I've sat in those rooms also and looked around the rooms and looked at the board of directors and nudged Donna when we were in that meeting. I said, Donna, everybody in this room went through leadership development program. That's what we were looking for. And this association was transitioning from a realtor-led organization to a staff-led organization. And so when we became more of a staff-led organization, we didn't have as many people going through doing a lot of committee work to pull into leadership programs. So that's where the leadership development program was bringing up those people that we would have identified through all the committee work.
Okay. So lasting impressions seem to, you're part of a lot of them. And I got a phone call as president from the the deputy director of planning for the city of Charlotte. And it is all within the Charlotte 2040 comprehensive plan. The big news, trying to plan out the next 20 years. And they want to use some of the statistics they get from the MLS. And Anne-Marie and I encouraged them to use UNC Charlotte, Childers Klein. Because they have been keeping up with statistics and trends for years, and that started when you were president. So can you talk about some of the relationships you've had and kind of figured out with getting connected?
Where do you remember? Yeah, we did. We started that relationship with UNC Real Estate. What was it?
The UNC Charlotte. Let me look at it. It was the.
They had a real estate program.
Yep.
And then we gave them some money to.
Like do the research.
To do some research.
Do statistics, and then to this day, we'll get the state of housing, in the Charlotte MSA, and it's an annual report that comes out. So we see the trends in like median income, the median sales price.
You share that, yeah.
Yeah, and so we get all of that. So what we see sometimes is that you can, when we worry about challenges for affordability, Dr. Chu, who's running it now, he can show a statistic that says the lowest 10th percentile in home prices has the sharpest increase of any percentile, just because it just keeps getting pulled up. Everybody's bidding down based on the demand. And we would, I don't know if we'd catch this. We've got market stats at MLS, but just to have that outside reference point that A, we can look at and measure, and then B, when the city comes and wants to get stats from us, we can say, hey, you can cross-reference that with UNC Charlotte. That was something through your tenure back, I think about 05, maybe before you were president, or 04, 05, maybe right before or after.
04 and 05, and I remember where we were at a meeting in Pinehurst, and we started talking about it. I remember that. But gosh, David, I don't remember all the details of that. But yeah, that's about when that started.
So I get to go to talk to the current leadership class tomorrow. What advice do I give them? If I could say one thing from one of the four that started this, it really planted the seeds. What advice would you have me give them?
You got me on that one. Oh, just be true to your word. Be impeccable in your actions.
You've had a lot of success as a leader. Do you remember any of the challenges that kind of like kept you up at night and you're like, how am I going to get through this? I mean, is there things that you were like, okay, these are hard obstacles, but I got through them? You remember any of those and how you?
Yeah, you sent me that question last week. That would be 2007, 2008, the downturn. That was devastating for a lot of us, not even just in real estate, but all across the country. So that was a tough one, man. We had to close up our brick and mortar shop on Morehead Street and had gone to the bank getting operating funds on a monthly basis and got pretty deep in the hole. So we finally come out of that lean and mean, and when last year when we went in the pandemic, I had already cut my business overhead, and my personal overhead was not as much of a worry because going into 07, 08, that came out of nowhere, and we did not have our costs under control.
Do you have moments, and there's plenty, I'm sure you feel proud when you walk in the building and realize everything that you did to help get us here. I'm sure you feel proud when we hit the $1 million mark on the foundation. When you look back, what's one thing that really stands out that says, I feel lucky, or I feel so proud to be a part of this particular thing? Or is it more than one?
Well, there's a lot more than one, but one of my most exciting moments in real estate, David, was April 22nd, 2015. It's about 11:30 in the morning, and I had an out-of-state investor needing a property manager. And I called Joe, and Joe referred you to come to the house and meet us at the house, and as far as I know, you are still managing that property.
What's the address?
Huh?
What's the address?
Bamblewood, maybe? Susie that lives in California.
Yeah, Susie Allwash.
Allwash.
Yeah.
So, April 22nd, 2015 is the day I met David Canopy, and my life is now better. And so is yours.
I remember that day. Yeah, you pulled me in, and she was. It's funny when clients are linked to realtors that you have a tremendous amount of respect for. You're gonna do. I was like, I'm gonna take care of this lady. She ended up bringing me like 3 more.
Yeah.
So she knew what she was doing. She got married. We just like you have a long-standing relationship with those people.
Right,
So
sure,
yes.
sure.
Oh wow, yeah. So
some other good memories, because you did give me a cheat sheet on that, were when I was broker in charge of First Charlotte Properties, still am, but broker in charge of First Charlotte Properties when we had the Morehead Street brick and mortar office, and we had about 30 agents, and man, we were all like family. We were all doing really good in the early 2000s, and just a wonderful group of people over there. And we do the Christmas parties and hand out big fat bonuses, and all that was real fun. So that group of First Charlotte Properties on Morehead Street is certainly one of my favorite memories. One more favorite memory, 2 more. A memory is my first executive committee meeting with Mike Rash. When he was president, I was on his executive committee. He walks in and sits down and said, "Our executive officer just resigned yesterday." And I'm like, oh God, this is gonna be a tough year. And Mike said, "But I've got a solution. Anne Marie Howard."
yes. How did she work out?
Incredible.
Yes.
That probably in all of our years, the executive committee decisions, that is one of the best ones we made. And Mike Rash, thank you for that solution. Nice. We solved what was going to be a big problem in about a couple of minutes.
Yes,
became really, really good.
Yes,
decision.
I would like to personally thank you for doing that. Thank you for that. It is
Well, then
paying off.
Mike Rash started that one.
Yeah.
I just voted.
Nice. Well, he needed you. What else? What else comes to mind? Favorite memories?
Some other memories. Well, I was talking to Donna on the way down here. And some of the new folks in the business might not remember this, but we used to have something called the Builder Realtor Fair. That is now the Realtor Expo. But in the early days of the Builder Realtor Fair, the realtors would organize the event. We would make the calls to the builders. Hey, will you come over? We're having this event, bring some prizes and stuff like that. We would rent we would get the facility, we would haul the tables in and the drop cords and all that. That was the Realtor Expo, Builder Realtor Fair, and a leadership development program. I talked about that. But
Do you year in and year out, the Canopy Housing Foundation awards grant funding. This year we awarded $87,500. You were there kind of at the beginning of, not the beginning, you say it goes back, but you were there when Terry Marshall came on board.
yes.
And what does it mean to see those numbers, the grant numbers, continuing to come through every year, almost more and more money every year, more people helping, more people, and to know you were a linchpin in that to kind of keep it going, almost get it more formalized. We formalized a lot of things after your presidency. Once Terry came on, what was it like when Terry came aboard, and staff really could invigorate some of the efforts that the charitable arm of the Realtors were doing?
Yes, it's pretty incredible the path that foundation has taken. Giving away houses, giving away a lot of money. Haywood County, we were able to help them out a lot last week. And that was one of the reasons I think Haywood County came into our association, was because of our foundation. And they liked that. That's pretty incredible stuff. I think nationally, people call Terry nationally to get ideas of what we're doing here. So we certainly made a
I swear,
thing for ourselves.
I was at NAR, and the president from Raleigh got up in front of everybody, talked about all the great things that Raleigh was doing, and I was like, he just had a meeting with Terry Marshall, and that's how he knows what to do, and he's excited about it. He wants to tell everybody. But you could see people like around the state getting inspired from her, and the things that we do. What does it mean to be a realtor then? What does it mean to be a realtor now? Has it changed? How does it evolve?
What does it mean to be a realtor? At the core is our code of ethics, right? Those are the code of ethics, how we treat each other, how we treat our customers and clients, and how we treat the public. Then you've got, I think, all the exciting stuff that the local, state, and national associations are doing. If you want to get involved in that locally or statewide or national, you learn so much and you meet so many incredible people, whether it's here in Charlotte or in Greensboro or Chicago. And I've done a lot of those conventions and always take away so much and walk away with so many great relationships. So that the involvement within the associations and what the state and local, state, and national associations are doing for the right to home ownership and affordable housing. It's a tough one, but we got to protect our homeowners, our property rights.